You know that saying, what's not broke, don't touch. Well, I touched it, now I broke it. So, I'm not sure whose fault it is, or most of it's my fault. But ultimate story is that I was one revision behind on the firmware when I checked it, and I wanted to upgrade it because of vulnerabilities. Yeah, that word, vulnerabilities. But just always wanted to make sure everything's up to date before I put it in my cluster. And you know, I know it's up to date from here on out until something else comes out. But when I flashed it, I should have did it by like a USB or something like that, flashed it locally. But I decided, since the server has an IPMI, I bought the license thinking that it would be so much easier to do the BIOS update through the IPMI. Well, I did that, and it said it was successful, and then I go in, restart, and then nothing. So the server turns on, the fan seems like it's booting up and everything, but I get no screen. I get no beeps, no screen. I'm like, crap. So I tried multiple different things, with looked up on the forums and stuff like that. I got a USB serial, and then a straight through serial cable. I said if I plug it into the back and hook it up to another computer, turn on a computer, and I should be able to connect to it at, I think it was 115.2, 8-bit, and still nothing. Then I seen another forum that says, well, when you first turn it on, hold down Control and the Home key, either repeat, tapping the Home key, or just hold it down, and that will get you in. That didn't work. There's a jumper on there. I think it's, what is it? JPME2 jumper that they say to jumper it out, and that'll put it into maintenance mode, and then you can flash it through a USB drive without pressing any keys. I tried that. I also tried pressing the Alt and Home key. Everything I did not work. So now, a couple beers later, I'm trying to figure out the best way of doing it, and I think the only way I'm going to be able to do it is either one or two ways. Either send this server back to Supermicro, which probably is not an option because this is a heavy server, and for me to ship it out and have them ship it back, that'd be a cluster F. Or I can buy this clip that I can clip around the BIOS chip and hopefully read the BIOS chip and then flash it directly on the BIOS chip. So we'll see. I looked up that part. It's only like $12 on Amazon, so I ordered it. Should be here in a couple days, and we'll get back to it in a couple days. Catch you then. Alright guys, it's been a couple days. A lot of hair pulling out and a lot of drinking beer. Trying to figure this thing out. Like I said, if it's not broke, don't touch. BIOS definitely does suck, but now I think hopefully I'm gonna get this working. So this is the device I bought on Amazon. I'll link the description of it below, but pretty much what it does, got a little chip on there, and also a brings it to USB, and also thing that's really cool is this little clamp. I'm on focus, there we go. This clamp will clamp around the BIOS chip, which is located right at the tip of my finger there. So hopefully from that I can, using that and this program called NeoProgrammer, hopefully I'll be able to read a BIOS chip directly from the chip itself and flash the ROM file from Supermicro right onto that chip. Let's cross our fingers and let's see how it works. So also wanted to note that first we got to figure out what type of chip this is. I already removed the this little tape that's on there, and underneath that it actually tells you what the BIOS chip is. So I got that info. Next thing you need to know is what is pin number 1. And on my motherboard, your motherboard might be a little bit different, is marked with this little arrow. So that's my pin number 1. So now when we look at this, my pin number 1 is going to be this red cable, this red wire here. Come on, focus. There we go. So I know this upper pin needs to go to pin 1 on the BIOS chip. And I'm going to hook that up before I plug this into the computer, because I don't want, because there's going to be power going through this. I don't want to short anything out when I'm doing this, because it's very easy. Come on, focus. It's very easy to see that you can definitely short pins out pretty easily on this. So let me get this hooked up and I'll get back to you. Alright guys, I'm back. So got it plugged in. So I have power disconnected from the server. I hooked up this first, and then I hooked up this. So now over on this program here, like I said, I'll link that in the description for you guys. We're going to click on this question mark here, detect IC. Alright, you got the, it found, if you have this message that pops up, it detected what the IC might be. Now you got to choose the IC that you actually do have. In my case, this is a 28FV. And I'll hit select. And now I'm going to want to read it. Because I'm going to make a backup of what this is. So I'm going to read. And this is going to pull in the data. So this may take a couple minutes. And I'll get back to you guys when I'm back. I figured while this is reading, I'm going to kind of explain what's going on here. So every computer is going to be a little bit different. Some computers are going to require you to have power on the motherboard to have this function. But with this motherboard, I didn't need to. So it's really hard to figure out if you do need power or not. So what I would recommend doing is first try it without powering it up. And if you have issues like getting errors over there, then I would try to hook up power to it and try to flash it from that way. But first, do it with no power. Because, you know, USB, it's going to be sending power this way. And if you have power on here, it's going to be sending power back the other way. So be very careful. And also what I would recommend is make sure you have it on a USB 3.0 or fast charging USB port, because that's very important. You want to have good voltage on that. And the way I have this configured, it already pre-comes with this jumper all the way to the right there, which is for my setup, meaning that I'm using a laptop to plug into this, not a Adreno or something like that, or Raspberry Pi, I should say. For a computer, you're going to want it that jumper on there. And there is two different sections of this quick connect punch down, whatever you want to call it. So there's two different types of chips that this thing can handle. My chip is going to be on this side. I forgot what the other chips were, but I'll link a description of a YouTube guy that explains this a lot more detailed than I am. Yeah. I'm hoping this works, because I am reading from the BIOS chip and it looks like it was successful pulling all the data in. So I'm going to look at that and see what we see. Alright, so right over here I have the backup that I just did, and over here is the actual ROM from Supermicro, what it should be. Now if you notice, if you look at the last line here, this is line, come on, focus. Yeah, kind of see it. It's pretty much the last line, F6. F6. If you look over here, the FFFS6 is not all Fs. So you notice over here, like pretty much all this is all Fs, and this actually has data. So that tells me right there that for some reason the BIOS did not get fully flashed, even though the IPMI of Supermicro said it did. Like I said, I should have done it probably by USB and did it locally instead of IPMI, but it's the way it is. If you notice, it's all pretty much Fs going up. And over here we actually have data, and now all Fs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, actually I already did it, but I flashed this write ROM onto the BIOS chip. I already unplugged it because I didn't want to keep it plugged in all this time and stuff like that, just in case something shorted out or I moved something, you know, my luck. So I wanted to get it over and done with really quick. So ultimately what I ended up doing was coming up here, going to a load file, and I load the file, which is what you're seeing here, and then if you clicked over here, just write. Why is this not focusing too well? Yeah, it's not focusing, but it says write IC, and once you write to the IC, be very careful. Do not move the computer. Do not move the cable, because it's writing directly to that BIOS chip. So I have that all done. So since that's done, I'm going to try to start it up for the first time, and hopefully she boots. So let's see what we got here. So plug her in, the power button. Oh well, no smoke yet. We got a power LED over there, and let's turn her on. Oh, sweet. That is amazing. Whew. I thought I had a very expensive paperweight. Very expensive, heavy paperweight. But that's awesome. She's booting. System initialization. Awesome. And sweet. Whew. That's a big sigh for me. Oh, relief, I should say. Alright, so there's that. That's how to recover a BIOS. Didn't think I was going to be doing that, but that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess, you know? Sweet. Flash mode. Awesome. Looking much better than it did before, so sweet. Alright guys, so wicked excited. Once again, BIOS is fixed. Freaking out sweating on that for a while. But that's looking good. Now I think I'm a BIOS expert almost. Well, flashing it at least. So if anybody has any dead BIOS chips or whatever, or failed to flash it and there's no possible way of recovering it any other way, definitely get yourself one of these cables. Freaking save my butt for definitely. I think this was like 15 bucks on Amazon. I'll link it in the description below. But freaking save my butt right there. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting everything back in. I'll put the HBA back in. I'll put my my cache terabyte M.2 chip in there, and we'll get rocking on the next video. So stay tuned, and we'll see what other things I can screw up. All right, peace out. So there's one more thing I forgot to mention to you guys. When you do download this program for the BIOS, is that when you first install this, your computer's not going to recognize what that device is. So you need a driver for it. So inside that folder that you download, it's going to have a folder called drivers. And if you open up Device Manager and right click on the unknown device, just hit update driver, and just navigate to this folder. And also you want to make sure that you unzip it, obviously. You don't want to have a zip program while running it. It's bad practice in use. So have it unzipped, update the driver with the drivers that are there, and then you should be good to go. And if you guys are wondering why this hot glue gun's over here, is because what I'm going to do, since these are not like perfectly threaded and stuff like that, I'm just afraid that these screws are going to back out. I mean, it's in there pretty good. I mean, this thing's not moving. But just in case, I'm just going to put a little dab of hot glue here and here on the screws, just in case, so they don't back up from the vibration or something like that from the drives or fans. Yeah, I'm pretty happy how this bracket came out. Yeah, I could have ordered one on Amazon, but if I can make it, might as well, right?